Welcome back to Real Ag Radio here on Rural Radio, Channel 147, Sirius XM. I am Lizzie Smith, just hopping in for Sean Haney for a moment. Joining me, it's Greg Stops. He's a rep with Pioneer Seeds Canada. Greg, how are you?
I'm great, Lindsay. Thanks so much for having me back on.
All right, now remind everyone, of course, what area of Ontario do you cover?
So I'm area agronomist with Pioneer, and I'm covering kind of south central Ontario. I get to cover beautiful Perth and Huron counties, and a little bit of Bruce, a little bit of other surrounding counties, but kind of that real heart of south central Ontario.
Bruce County to keep you humble, right? Is
Yeah.
that?
Well,
Yeah, that's
no. Things are wonderful in Bruce County most years too.
it's a
Oh,
beautiful place as well.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, now to unpack. So here we are. We're I hate to say it, mid-October, if you can believe it. We are seeing, of course, some yields coming in on the corn crop. Some discussion about what's out there. I think most of the time we're hearing variability, and even within the field itself, like each individual field. What are you seeing with your growers right now?
Yeah, so we're seeing much the same, right? I mean, and I kind of expect that after having watched the soybean crop come in, and seeing yields fairly variable across regions from field to field, even from concession to concession. All of that lined up with the moisture we were given this year, right? We experienced some real drought conditions, and that was worse in some pockets than others, right? So creating some of that variability, and then expecting that variability even within fields based on soil texture, drainage, other stressors that can be brought out and made even worse by some of those drought conditions. So we're definitely seeing some of that. Early indications, I've been fairly pleased with yields that have come off, especially as we got started onto silage. They're maybe not as bad as we were bracing ourselves to be. They're not even, it's hard to even use the word bad. A lot of yields have been pretty good. We're probably just closer to that average, that 10-year average, than we have been for the last couple of years. And the last couple of years in this area have been kind of record-breaking yields. We've been overwhelmed with success, I would say. And this year we're going to be a little closer to average, right? So it may seem that we're kind of lower. It may hit a little harder given commodity prices and things like that. But initial yields from silage, some of the high moisture corn that we're getting into, it's been pretty good. At the same time, some of those hard hit drought areas are surprisingly, a little bit lower, right? Like it's not unheard of to see fields running closer to that average of just under 200, even 180, but swings in those fields from 100 bushel on real dry patches all the way up
Right.
to 220, 230, right? In the really good areas. So that variability exists, and we're going to have to brace ourselves for that and expect it, right?
hmm Now, drought, I think, or dry conditions, depending on where you were, really the story of 2025 for the soybean and the corn crop. Diseases, though, an interesting sort of mix out there, certainly. Many producers saying, tar spot, which needs that leaf wetness, didn't really become an issue. But where fungicides were put down, still probably some ROI there. So, what are you seeing on the disease threats and sort of the ROI of the fungicide pass?
Well, I think on the disease side of things, it just goes to prove that old adage, right? Like just get the agronomist to talk about that disease all winter long, and it won't show up that next
Right.
year. Right? We talked so much about tar spot last year, and sure enough, those conditions didn't really present themselves. That doesn't mean the disease isn't going to be a threat. And
That's right.
as I drive around and look at plots now today, there's more than enough tar spot out there. Is it driving any impact on the crop? No, I can't realistically say that in the area I cover, it is driving an impact. Um, is there much ROI from the fungicides and stuff that everyone rushed to put on this year? I think there actually still is. The more from just the overall impact we get with fungicides on plant health. Plant health is multifaceted and can help with some of that drought stress as well. Just allowing plants to recover a little bit once they get some rains back. I think we will still probably see a little bit of ROI from fungicide. Maybe not as dramatic as we saw it when tar spot was really heavy, but still dramatic enough. And I'd say tar spot isn't, the only disease we battle. There's other diseases out there continually year after year. Northern is starting to show up a little bit more again. We're in that cycle where I'm starting to see a little bit more of it on some hybrids that are a little bit more sensitive. They are benefiting hugely from those same fungicide packages that we put on for tar spot, right? A lot of the fungicides that we have today are really good on multiple diseases, especially the leaf diseases. And there's going to be more ROI, whether it's for tar spot or not. Maybe it's for northern this year, right?
That's right.
And we're going to see a bit of that advantage. And then the third disease that I always kind of think about in these parts is Gibberella ear rot, and the potential of that ear rot to produce dawn in terms of toxin loads. And there are enough pockets of gib that are starting to show up out there. It's not severe. Again, these dry conditions aren't ones that are conducive for spread of ear molds typically, but we're seeing a little bit of it, right? We're seeing some of those pockets, and if growers were to have applied a fungicide that is aiming at suppressing those dawn levels, they will likely have seen a bit of payback from that this year as well.
I've certainly heard maybe some people surprised by how many pockets of gib they found. So again, not widespread, but maybe a bit surprising. So certainly, as you mentioned, definitely some things still out there, even if the talk of the town didn't rear its ugly head, that tar spot this year. Now it does, though, a trying year, a difficult year to me is usually also a great time to sort of pick some of those big winners, like some of those hybrids that really did well even in adverse conditions. What are you seeing in the field as far as what stories you're sort of pulling out of some of the hybrid lineup that you've got? What can you sort of help growers with when they're choosing for next year?
Yeah, so I think, years like this are always really, really good from a learning perspective, right? Whether that's on disease, whether that's on overall stress tolerance and ability. There's definitely some really strong hybrids in our lineup. Some newer ones that are coming to our lineup that we've been able to trial in plots and things this year. And those are the ones that I always take a little bit more interest in because they're the first time we've seen them across kind of a larger amount of challenging acres. And it really lets us put them through their paces. And some of those really key characteristics are not always viewable every year, right? But
That's right.
drought
Yeah.
stress tolerance is one of those really key characteristics. So to be able to put some newer hybrids and some existing ones through their paces in a dry year has been really educational for us. And there's a couple nice new standouts that we have coming to the table that look like they've handled that drought really, really well. That look like they've established really good test weight. They've held really good plant health through some of those really bad pockets of stress. And they've held up really well on disease too, even in areas where it's only been mild pressure, they stand out. And the late season plant health has been pretty good on almost all of our newer hybrids and a bunch of our existing older ones as well.
All right. Greg Stops, thank you so much for taking time to join us on the show today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Lindsay.